Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's the 10th of July, 2025, and it's a little shaky because I don't have my tripod. That's a little better. Hi. So it's like 8:30 in the morning. As you can see, I'm ready for work, but we're not working because I just blew a leaf spring right off my dump truck. So I'm out of service for the day. And the joys of filming next to the airport. What can you do? So, I figured since I couldn't work, I would just come to the garden. I was just pruning out my tomatoes, right? That big, just cutting out suckers and, lower leaves so they're off the ground and stuff. But I figured I would teach you guys how to prune your basil. So I've got 3 sweet Genovese basil right behind me, right there. And they're starting to go to flower. We don't want them to go to flower. We want them to bush out. So basil is one of those plants where you can prune it in a way that it will allow like exponential growth to happen on that plant, right? So basically what you're going to do is you don't want your basil to ever grow flowers. So I'll show you what's happening, and I'll show you how to properly prune your basil so your basil will just continue to get bigger, not just grow, but expand in size, okay? So we have some beautiful looking Genovese basil, right? Look at that. Small, medium, large. Right, so they're flowering. We don't want that. But what you can do with basil, right, is if you cut basil in specific places, you can actually encourage lateral branches to grow as opposed to just sending out single shoots. So every time you prune it, the plant will get bigger and bigger. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. See if we can get in here with the camera. There we go. Okay. So here's a flower forming right here. Okay. And you see these 2 little shoots growing out between the stem, which I'm touching, and the tip of the plant. You see these right here I'm touching? So if we cut this stem off that has the flower on it, these 2 lateral branches will then grow out into a bushier plant. See if I can do this one-handed. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it one-handed. You know what? We'll find a better spot to do it because I got to be able to hold things. All right, let's see if we can do it on this one. Yeah, all right, here's a good example. Okay, let's get it into camera lens. There we go. Okay, so we have our flower, right? There's our flower. And then here are what I'm touching here and here, right? So if we cut this stem off, these branches will grow out. So we'll do this one-handed. So we just basically come in, just take your pruners, snip that off. So you see where I cut it? So now what's going to happen is this branch and this branch, they're just going to grow right out, and your plant will just get bigger and bigger. So, but here's where it gets a little tricky, okay? So look, we have a flower. Now, if we were going to trim it right here where I'm touching, these lateral branches would grow. But if you look close, they are also trying to flower. So if we cut this off, we're just going to end up with 2 more flowers. So you want to bring it back. So if we try to bring it back a node, what's happening here, right? More flowers. So sometimes you have to go back even further but we can't on that branch, right? There's nowhere left to go. So basically all I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to come in, cut. You guys can't see. Oh shit. This is really hard to do without a tripod when you're trying to get up and close and personal. All right, I'm just going to cut it off. Hang on, guys. Professional YouTube content creator right here. All janky camera and shit. I can't do this. Hold on. Gotta do it 2 hands. Get in there. There. That's really complicated to do that with only 1 hand. So I've cut that stem off, and now these are gonna flower. But what I'm hoping is before they flower, they grow long enough I can cut the flowers off and they'll have more branches. So basically, like I said, you're just going to find your flower top and then go back a node, right? So we're just going to go to here, cut that off. And then your plant will just get bigger and bushier and bigger and bushier. And here's another nice thing about basil. Let's say I wanted several more basil plants growing, because I do have the space, right? What I could do, get off my knees here, is I could just, for example, I could just come over here. I could just cut this branch off, right? I could cut it back down to where there's another node where there's lateral branches. So I'm not damaging the plant, because this branch and this branch will continue to grow. I can cut this top right off, right here, stick it in a glass of water for a few days. It'll start to put out roots, and then I can just take this whole thing and cut another hole and stick that right in. Boom, basil plants. Another thing that you can do, which is kind of sneaky, is you can go to the grocery stores where they sell live basil plants and bring yourself a little pair of pruners. And allegedly, from what I've read on the internet, you can just take a snip off one of those basil plants, hypothetically, from the grocery store, and then bring that home and put it in water and grow your own basil plant, and it won't cost you anything, allegedly. Like I said, I read that on the internet, so it has to be true. So we don't want flowers, right? So all I'm going to do now, like I said, is I'm going to go through these 3 plants, and I'm just going to cut all the flowers off. So I'm going to take care of that, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. 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 See how we just cut it back at a node? And then these lateral branches right here will just continue to grow out and bushy out the plant. And we got this one done too. No more flowers. And the other benefit is when you're pruning your basil, just take those leaves inside and incorporate them into your next meal, because there's nothing wrong with them, right? We just don't want the plant to go into flower. So there we go. And then we have Thai basil beside it. And we do have a few flowers on the Thai basil. They're pretty. There we go. Come on, camera. There. They're purple on the Thai basil. And another thing I've done is I've harvested the flowers off my Thai basil because they smell delicious, right? And you can just mix them into a quart jar with vinegar, and you've literally created the base for an absolutely delicious salad dressing. And the vinegar turns purple. So Thai basil is the same. So we just follow that stem down. Just snick it right off. There we go. No more flower. It's also helpful if you have a pair of pruners with a really fine tip on it. I have those in the car. I just grabbed these because I was pruning. Why doesn't the camera want to focus? There. See how pretty that is? So that turns your vinegar that color. And like I said, you can eat those leaves. There's nothing wrong with them. So keep your basil pruned, guys, and it'll get bigger and bushier and bigger and bushier. And then in the fall, come harvest time, you can also just clip a branch off, bring it in the house, put it in a glass of water. When it sprouts roots, throw it in a pot and grow it in your house over the winter time, because basil is one of those plants that you're going to trim and eat off of often, and it's going to make your kitchen smell yummy. Well, that's basil for you. Nice and easy. It needs lots of water, so keep it watered, keep it healthy, keep it pruned, grow good food, subscribe, leave me a comment, do those things, you know, help me with the algorithm. Share this out if you want. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.